often or when you two, if you two talk today. But I just wanted to kind of do a check-in and ask you both to describe how you're feeling. And if you want, you can either describe how you're feeling like with normal emotion words, or you could do it in terms of like an analogy to the weather. So if you're feeling sleepy, you might say that you're feeling cloudy, for instance. Do either of you want to start?
Brie, you could go.
Casey, you can go.
Okay, fine. I'm feeling good. It's just my hair is just super nappy. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Bree, what about you?
I'm feeling sunny.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is it because the sun is shining, or why are you, do you care to share any details?
Because I'm happy.
Okay, sweet. I'm glad. Yeah, the sun just came out where I am. I don't know. I'm sure it's...
Mine's just there too.
We're only like 10 miles away. So, did you guys hear that storm last night?
Yes, I was scared.
I know. I don't usually get scared, but like it just sounded different. And sometimes when I get real freaked out, I like check the news to see like what the news says about what's going on. So I was like watching the weather app from like 1:30 to 2, and then I went back to sleep.
I was asleep the whole entire time.
Lucky you. I almost actually got out of bed and went around my house and like locked all the windows in case. But I just did it in my room instead. Anyway, speaking of the weather. All right. So today I want to talk about what you all have been binge watching or just regular watching. Like what have you been spending your time? Which one?
American Dad.
American Dad. Is that... It's a cartoon.
That's what I'm watching right now.
Oh, okay. Casey, what about you?
I binge watch Criminal Minds and the show called You. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Joe is my number one husband.
Where are you in the show?
Well, I'm not in the show yet.
What?
Listen,
are you watching the show or not?
Yes.
Casey, she said, how far are you in the show, Goofy?
Oh, how far?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I watched season 2 before season 1, so I'm watching season 1. Yeah, it's a crazy story.
Okay. So, interesting. Okay, so just quick question: have either of you seen like the other shows that each of you were talking about?
I don't be on Netflix. I be on Hulu.
Okay.
I watch American Dad, but like not anymore. I think that show is like weird. That little alien creature looking thing is just crazy.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get on the good Wi-Fi. Hello?
Oh, here you go.
Okay, sweet. All right, so this was going to be, I mean, more or less interesting if more people were here. But so what I want to do is kind of turn this into like a way that we like, instead of you know how like sometimes at school you will read a book and then you'll have like a class discussion about the book and you'll like analyze the book, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's very academic, but we can do the same thing with TV shows, and it kind of just gives us an excuse to talk about TV shows because we're kind of pretending like it's academic, you know what I mean? Like it's educational. So the first thing that I want to do, so Casey, you'll have to pick one of your 2 shows. Criminal Minds. Okay. I'd be interested if you picked You, because I have a couple questions, a couple concerns about why you say that Joe is your husband, but we can go to that later. Okay, so what I want you both to do is to take a couple minutes to yourself, and I want you to think about how you could give like a 1-minute summary of the plot of your show without giving any spoilers. So maybe I should pick a show too. What show have I been watching? I'm watching Lost. Okay. So does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So do you need a minute, or do you think that you can just do it on the spot?
Which one am I doing?
You're doing Criminal Minds, you said, but you could change your mind.
Okay.
Okay, you want to take a minute to prepare?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Take your minutes. Prepare your 1 minute summary of your show. No spoilers.
Oh, okay. I don't feel like doing my hair anymore.
And chances are select will be edited today. Select will found 38 a $500,000 policy for under $23 a month. Select will found Anna $50,000 policy for under $23 a month. Select Quote Seeker is a comparison shop of select group of great companies like these for your pet friend. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. Since 1985, SelectQuote has saved over $1 million families millions of dollars on life insurance. Call now, 1-800-282-9660. That's 1-800-282-9660.
All right. Do y'all need more time, or you think you're ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. Bree, what about you?
My show, I don't know what to say about it.
Well, how would you, like, if you were trying to tell somebody that they should watch the show, how would you describe it to them?
Make a trailer in 1 minute.
Funny.
Funny. What's it about?
Everything, literally.
Everything.
Like
Okay, start with, like, so for instance, like, where and when does it take place?
at the
What?
it takes place at their house.
At their house. Okay, and is it modern day, or is it in a different time period?
I don't know. They do traveling in.
They do time travel?
Yeah, they be traveling to the 1970s.
I had no idea that was what American Dad was about. So that's cool. That's good to know. And then obviously, I guess from the name of the show and like what I know about the show, it takes place in the United States, right?
I'd hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't assume, because maybe it's called American Dad, but it's about like an American guy in a different country.
That's false advertising.
No, it's not. He's an American dad. It doesn't say it's not called Dad in America. It's called American Dad.
Sure.
His citizenship, he was born and his passport says US, but it could be anywhere. So I'm going to ask just a couple more questions, Brie. Is it about, like, from what I know, is it about his family?
It has something to do with his family. Like, they just do everything as a family, but like, I don't know. The American Dad, what's his name? I forget his name. Just like you. Dan. He has a cyclone, and his name's Bill.
Okay. So it sounds like there's like they go to the 1970s, but there's also like futuristic things.
It's like technically it's like about, because he's in the CIA.
Oh, there you go. That's like a good plot point. So yeah, so like try to give us some details. Like, don't worry about, because Casey's seen it and I'm probably not going to watch it. You don't have to worry about spoiling it. So just like now, if you weren't worried about spoiling it, could you like tell us what you know what I mean? Like, try to convince us that it's a good show that we would want to watch.
I don't know how to convince. I just watch it.
Just try it.
I don't know.
If you like crazy big families, watch it.
It sounds like it's like a family sitcom. I know that there's some adult humor, but it's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
And
If you like talking fish,
what?
if you like talking fish,
Talking fish. Okay. And there's some mystical, like made up elements, like not true things. Interesting. And he's in the CIA. And is it sort of like about his like adventures as part of the CIA?
I don't know.
Agree?
You there?
Maybe she stepped away. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing, Bree. Oh, you're on twice. Hey.
Yeah, my phone died.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, it still says that you're there, but that makes sense.
I don't know. That don't make sense.
What?
That two of me's in here.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Oh, there it left. Okay, so the last question I asked was just like, is it kind of based around his like adventures in the CIA, or how does that come into the story?
No, like he has like orders to do, but he does dumb. Like he's like a goofy character.
Yeah. So it's a comedy.
Yeah, and it just like it has negative things in it, like they be having strippers and stuff.
Oh, okay. So kind of, you could call that explicit content.
It's like
Like-
Big Mouth South Park.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think, oh yeah, you might have been, your phone might have died. I said it's kind of like, it's got a lot of adult humor, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
technically probably rated mature for mature audiences, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. We maybe should have not picked mature audience shows, but that's my fault for not laying that out from the beginning. But, okay, cool.
SpongeBob.
What?
That means we'll just be doing stuff like SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob.
Yeah. We could analyze SpongeBob. All right, Casey, do you want to give us a summary of Criminal Minds?
No,
Or do you
wait.
have any other? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you is about. Okay, can I say
Oh,
a
you-
man?
Sure. You can say his name. That's fine.
Okay, it's about Joe and all his stalkery.
Okay. Can I ask you to try one more time and do more than one sentence?
Sure. Okay, so it's about him and his stalking issues, and he's in love with. Well, I mean, it was one girl at first, but you know, it's a.
No
It's a new-
spoilers.
Oh yeah. Okay. This is very hard. Yeah. I don't know.
So he's a stalker, but you're kind of saying he stalks more than one person.
Yeah, not at the same time. Well, kind of at the same time. Oh, I want to tell y'all.
Where, and when does it take place?
Well, I mean, he stalks people in the morning, in the daytime, nighttime. He doesn't care.
I mean, is it does it take place like sort of in our time, or is it like in a different decade or a different century?
Oh, well, it's like our time, I guess. But sometimes it goes like back to the past or whatever because of something I say. But yeah,
It has
How far in the past?
like relationship past.
like when they're
So I don't know.
I've seen the show, so yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get you all to differentiate between like it goes like it shows like his memories, right?
Yeah.
So we can assume that that's like recent past because he doesn't also like when you see his memories, he doesn't look like he's really a different age, right?
He doesn't look different in any part of the show. He literally looks like a stalker the whole time.
My favorite, I love this show. Me and Mr. Richard binge watched it, but I love how he can like he puts on his ball cap and walks around places and like people don't notice him when they should notice him. It doesn't make any sense.
Except for one time. He got
Except
caught.
for one time.
Yeah.
there's like a couple of times where I'm like, okay, I can believe that he got away with this, but there are literally people right there talking about him, and he's like just lurking in the shadows, and you're like, are you that oblivious? Anyway, okay, so what are my other questions? All right, so I'll do my show. Okay. Unless, Bree, if you want to ask Casey anything about the show, but I know it sounds like you've watched it too.
Yeah, I did.
We've all watched, well, we've mostly watched all these shows, but I haven't watched American Dad. But I kind of know. I've kind of seen it. I've probably seen like half an episode here or there. Okay. Have you guys heard of Lost?
Lost? No.
Nope.
Oh, I got another show to talk about.
What show is it, Brie?
But it's called The Raisin Dion.
Oh man, I watched the first episode and I was like, no.
What's it called?
The Raisin Dion.
Raising Dion.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
But you should go first.
Okay. Yeah, and I have a couple. I just want to. I have a couple more questions about the shows that we are talking about, but we've got time. All right. So my show is Lost. I think it was made in like the early 2000s, so like when y'all were born. And it was like the first long running series where you had to watch multiple seasons in order to know the whole plot, if you can believe that. So some shows before that, like think of like, have you ever seen Golden Girls?
Nope.
Or I'm trying to think of another one. Have you heard of Happy Days?
Nope.
Okay. I suck because I don't have any other examples because I haven't watched these shows, but like think of like, have you seen Full House?
Yep.
Yeah.
Casey, you haven't seen Full House?
Yep, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, so like think of Full House is like, so you could watch the whole show and like there is like a plot, like, you know, it's about their lives and they grow up. So if you watch the whole series and like multiple seasons, you will learn about the characters and like see the ways that they change. But you know how you can kind of like turn it on and you can watch one episode without really knowing like what happened in the last episode because each episode kind of makes sense on its own, right?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like each episode has like little stories and like little jokes, and you don't like turn it on and be like confused because you didn't watch the episode before that. But if you watched You, like when you watched the second season of You before the first season, Casey, were you confused? Hey, Kara.
Hi.
What's up?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just thought I'd pop on. I wanted to let Casey know I emailed her gift card for Subway, so she should check her email. That's all. All right.
Casey, did you see the email?
Nope.
No, not yet.
I'll
We'll
look
look
for
for
it.
it later.
Yeah. Okay, it was sent to your iCloud email address.
Thanks, Kara.
All right. Have a great day,
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah. Wait, what's your favorite show to watch right now?
Oh, I just finished watching Ozark on Netflix. Why are you shaking?
I've heard of it.
Why are you shaking your head at me like that?
I don't know. Because I don't know it.
Okay. It's weird because I have the live stream up on this screen. So like I'm seeing myself talk right now. It's a little bit bizarre.
So you're creeping on us. Okay.
A little bit. I didn't have the sound on. I was just seeing how many people logged in. That's all.
I do it once in a while too. No worries. Okay.
All right, girls, enjoy your rest of your lesson.
Thanks, Kara.
Bye.
Bye.
How do we get out of here?
Okay.
Shoot.
So Casey, when you watched the second season of You, did you get kind of confused? Well, did you get confused?
Yep.
Yeah. You might not. It's like
Yeah, that's why I
actually
had
You.
to
It's
rewatch
kind of different. Yeah. It's like the second season you could watch it and kind of get it, but it does make references to the first season that you don't understand, right? So I'm trying to think of another one. Criminal Minds is almost like what I'm describing, where like you can watch one episode and it's like each episode is its own storyline about its own criminal.
Yeah, sometimes it goes back a couple episodes.
Right. But sometimes you're fine. You know what I mean? So all that is to say, Lost was the first show that like you had to kind of watch in order to understand the whole thing, because there were so many plot points. It was almost like a book, and each chapter was an episode, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm going to give you my plot summary now. 10 minutes later. Okay. So Lost takes place in like the early 2000s, in the world, but I'm going to read you the summary that I wrote. So these people are all on the same plane, and they get stranded on a random island after the plane crashes, and they have to like learn to survive. But there are like these weird, mysterious, unexplainable things that happen. And then they all kind of come to realize the ways that their lives have been connected. And so that's what it takes place on a deserted island, and we don't know where it is. And I haven't finished the show, so I can't really say if we find out where it is. But what questions did I ask you guys? Do you have any questions about Lost?
Nope, I believe you.
All right, great. It's good. I would recommend it, but it might be a little slow and not as action-packed as today's shows. So, I mean, it's on Hulu. Check it out, Brie. Okay, cool. So, other questions. So, how do the shows that you were talking about, how do they make you feel? And how do they keep your attention and make you want to keep watching them?
Okay, so this one show is called The Raising Dion. I forgot to mention about that.
Yeah.
And like when I first watched the first episode, I wasn't into it, but I continued to watch it, and it started getting real good. Like Dion, it's called The Raising Dion because he has powers. He got powers from his dad. His dad was killed by his goddad. Like, it's confusing at first, but you got to watch the whole thing until the end. Like, it gets so confusing in the middle, in the beginning, and then as soon as you watch the end, you will understand it. Why he tried to be his goddad and take him everywhere. He tried to take Dion's powers from him. So he could be more powerful.
Okay.
Like, it's so...
Okay. Brie.
And then I watched Supergirl 4 seasons.
Supergirl. Is that a CW show?
Yeah, I watched all of them in 2 months.
Is that CW or? I've never.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on. What's it called? I think it's DC. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Superman. I don't know and like one. That universe. Okay.
Yeah. And I started to watch. What is it called? I forget what it was. I ain't finished it though.
Did you all watch Tiger King?
I forget. No,
I forgot about.
You didn't watch the Tiger King? No. Just curious. That's something else that I watched recently. Brie, I was asking, Raising Dion, is it cartoon or is it live action, like with real people?
No, it's like real people and stuff. It's not a kid movie or nothing. It's like someone that has powers, like a person. It's not like cartoon or nothing. Like, it's really interesting.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I've just never heard of it, so I was curious.
I'll be rewatching it because I love it so much.
Okay, so Brie, I would either pick Raising Dion or pick American Dad, like whichever one you want to keep talking about, just to like kind of simplify, because I just have a couple. Well, I have some good questions. All right, so for each of us, we should answer the question: how does the show make you feel, and why do you keep watching it? Like, what about the show keeps your attention and makes you want to keep watching?
the reason why I keep watching it is because it gets me mad at the ending how his goddad trades on him, whatever. Because the Dion, his powers are healing, so he can heal. So his goddad was like taking advantage and all this other stuff, and he was waiting for this day to like try to take his powers so he can heal him. Like, it makes me so mad. His goddad killed his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody got the powers because something interrupted in the like the place they were at, and like it had an explosion, and then everybody got powers, whoever was there, and one of them got the bad, like the villain, but it's not like really a villain. I just call it. He was the bad person, and he killed everybody that had the powers so he can take over. Like, I don't know why I just keep watching it. It's just like my favorite show.
Well, it sounds like you also
Like, I'm waiting for season 2.
Like, I was gonna ask, but I realized you've already talked about another show about superheroes. So, like, do you watch a lot of superhero shows?
I'm that type of action. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, it's also
Like, I like super.
they're usually. Go ahead.
I started the Green Arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
But I started something else, but I forget what it's called. Like,
there's a lot. There's like The Flash. I like. There's Jessica Jones, which is like.
Yep.
Yeah.
I started.
Because I think The Flash and Green Arrow are in the same like universe.
Yeah, The Flash, Green Arrow, and Supergirl all have a connection.
Okay. Yeah. Plus, I think that
they're all in.
Yeah. That's cool. And I was just gonna say, like, from like, remember I said you can kind of analyze a show like you do a book, right? Like in English class. So one thing that we could discuss, which we don't have to go into today, but like one way that you can look at it is thinking about the main characters and thinking about if they are the hero or the protagonist, and or the villain, which is the antagonist. And what's cool about superhero shows is like there's action, but there's also usually like a good story behind like how the superhero came to not only have their powers, but like to have sort of the values that they have. And so, yeah, it's interesting that you like that type of show, Brie. That's all. Do you typically like the hero or the villain in the show?
I just like the things that they do. Like, it's like, I don't know.
But is it like the good guys or the bad guys?
I like everything about it.
You like everything?
I like the.
Yeah, it is usually very exciting. How much of The Flash did you watch? Do you remember? Or did you say you just started it?
I'm still on like. No, I'm like on I'm still on season 1, like episode 12 or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's 12. I think it's like 8.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I gotta watch. Like, I gotta rewatch everything anyway. So
I want to say the only thing about that show was that I got to like near the end of season 3, and it just like kind of started feeling old, and I didn't keep watching it. But I know that it kept going. But maybe you won't have that experience.
like Supergirl, it started to get boring, but I just had to finish it.
Yeah, right. Like you like needed to know how the plot ended.
Yeah,
That good.
I hope they have another season. Like,
I'll have to check it out.
I just love superheroes. I wish
Cool.
they did Batman, because I would watch that.
Have you ever watched Criminal Minds? Because I feel like you might like it. It is, I feel like, because it's about FBI agents, right? And they're almost portrayed like the superheroes, but obviously they don't have superpowers. So it's slightly different in that way.
I don't know. I feel like I should be a detective. Like, I just love getting into things like that. Like, at this thing I went to is Still Center, and they had this little detective stuff, like a little fingerprint things or whatever. Like, I don't know. I want to be a detective for real.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because you reminded me. Actually, on today's lesson plan, I put in 2 videos. One was training for the FBI, and one was, and it's like an interest. It's not like, it sounds kind of boring, but it's this one girl from BuzzFeed, and she does these like, I tried training like a model, and I tried training like an FBI agent. So it's like a half-hour video. You should watch it. And I'm gonna show you all how to do that. Casey, like I showed you yesterday, at the end of this, I'm gonna show you guys how to find those, because that's an opportunity to get some more hours. Bree, you know you can still get paid right now, right? From us?
Okay.
So we still just, we got to work on getting the hours. So we'll talk about that at the end. But I want to give Casey a chance to talk about how does the show You make you feel? Why does it make you want to keep watching?
Because I'm always still confused at the end. Why? Stop. It just makes me just want to watch more and not understand where he's coming from.
So they're really good at like giving you cliffhangers.
Yeah, and he does it for.
He does what?
He does what he does for a good reason.
Interesting. Yeah. So let me ask. So what is it? So he's a stalker, right? And like typically, what do we think about like stalkers? Are they good or bad? Typically.
Oh, well, stalkers. They're good.
Spies are stalkers? Okay. But like if you had like a stalker, how would you normally feel?
I don't know. I would be confused.
You'd be confused.
Like, what?
Would you feel like you were in danger? Well, okay, what about, so I'm kind of trying to get at like the way that the show is written is like, it's very interesting because it, like you said, it makes you kind of empathize for Joe, for the main character. But think about like if you were in the first season, you were Beck. Let's pretend that you're the character Beck. Do you feel safe? Like, does Joe, if you could like know everything that he did, would you feel safe having him as your stalker? What'd you say?
Probably not. I don't like Beck.
Why did you say you wouldn't feel safe?
Well, I wouldn't probably feel safe because he just stops her whenever he takes her stuff.
Right, and ultimately he killed her. So like, he can, the show is
but
like
that's
written.
her fault. She
What?
cheating on him.
Hey, girl.
He cheated on her.
Yep. I decided.
What? Bree, are you talking to us?
No, I was talking to my granny.
Oh, okay. So what was I gonna say? So Casey, I think that we want to be careful and not say that like her cheating on him was a good reason for him to kill her, right? Is that what? I don't think we should say that.
I guess not in reality, but on a show.
It was an interesting and thrilling plot point, sure. But like what I'm trying to get at is the way that the show is written and the way that like Joe is able to give us, he's the narrator, right? So he can tell us like how he feels and like, oh, he's so in love and, he was abused as a kid and it like makes you feel bad for him. And then he goes and kills someone and you're like, it's like hard to like think of him as a bad person even after he kills multiple people, right? But it's just interesting. What's funny?
The one I feel bad for is Benji.
Yeah, you're right. I just think that there are a lot of people that he kills that like didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Peach though, I don't like her.
What about what's her name? The Latina girl in the second season.
Wait,
His
what?
landlord in the second season.
I thought I'd watch all of it. I don't know.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
You know, the opposite of forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Hello?
Hey, Bree. Do you mind either muting your TV or muting your microphone so that we don't hear the TV in the background?
My bad.
No worries. Yeah, you might not have known, but it was like pretty loud over here.
I kind of moved over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not sure if you watched the end of season 2, Casey?
Yeah, because like I don't remember that.
That's crazy. You got to go watch it. Delilah,
Yeah,
remember Delilah?
I think. Going to watch it.
Uh-oh.
The whole entire thing.
Sorry if I gave you any spoilers. You got to go watch it. All right, cool. So, okay, I'm going to bring up this last thing and then we can talk about whatever else we want to talk about. But there's this thing that you can do for a show or a movie or whatever. It's called the Bechdel test, which is it was mentioned in the show because it's a literary thing. It was mentioned in You. So it's basically about feminism. And so it's just 3 simple questions to kind of see if a show, not if it is feminist, but if it like represents women in a good way. And the 3 simple questions are that 1, there just has to be 2 female characters in the show. Question 2, do those 2 female characters talk to each other? And question 3, do they talk about something other than men? And if there are 2 female characters who talk to each other about something other than men, then we can say that the show passes the Bechdel test, and like at a very minimal level, it sort of represents females well. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because there are a lot of shows, believe it or not, and I'm sure that you've seen them, where like all the women in the show talk about are dudes.
That reminds me of Friends.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, I hope and I think, like, it could be even if, like, I feel like Friends would pass the test, but the point is that the test is also, like, super simple, so it should be, most shows should pass it. You would hope, but, like, a lot of shows, if the show is about an American dad, right, most of their conversations are going to be about him instead of other stuff, right? So in Friends, like, even if 2 of the women talk about coffee, that counts because they're not talking about a man, if that makes sense. Do you think that your shows would pass that test? If you think hard about it.
Yep.
You think that the show You passes the test?
Yep.
Who can you like think of an example of 2 female characters who might talk about something other than like Joe?
Yep. Peach and Beth.
What do they talk about? They might have talked parties, Paris, yeah, or even like school. They talk about a lot of things. You're right. Bree, what about you? What do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think American Dad would pass this test? Or any of the other shows?
I know American Dad won't. I'm not sure.
I think American Dad would.
I feel like I mean, I don't watch any of American Dad, so I can't really tell, right? But like Supergirl, for instance, do you think is there a conversation that Supergirl might have with one of her girlfriends that is about
Yeah, it's her closest sister, Alex. It's her stepsister.
What do they talk about?
Not her stepsister, her adopted sister. They always talk about how when they were younger, they gave more attention to Supergirl was because her thing crashed and her cousin Superman, he like grew up because he landed, but she got stuck in outer space, and so she went to this home or whatever, and like the adopted sister was always jealous of her.
Mm-hmm.
So like they will talk about how they were younger or whatever.
Okay. Cool. I think that Lost would pass the test because there are lots of female characters and they have conversations about babies and food and whatever. But it's interesting because it's like, so it's almost like I said, easy for some shows to pass the test, but they might not be talking about anything like, they might be talking about some superficial stuff, right? It might not even be, it's not a great indicator, but it is just a like baseline. And it's interesting to see that like, since there are shows that don't pass this test, like what's happening in our world still today that like, in terms of feminism and like equal rights for women, how can there still be shows that are like just solely centered around men talking about men things, you know? It's just interesting to me.
Isn't it about girls just talking about girls things?
What's that?
Isn't there just shows talking about, like, isn't there shows that have like girls just talking about girls things?
That's true. There are. I would just say that, like if we look at history, those shows started later than the shows about men talking about men things. Because also, like, we have to think about who's writing those shows. Do you think that there's a dude writing a show about women talking about women things?
Probably.
There might be, but like,
well, I don't know.
Right? Like, I'd say that
it could be a boy or a girl.
It's less common.
Most likely a female, but
yeah.
Yeah, but most likely a male writing about a male is probably a male.
Right. So all I'm saying is like when we look at history and like who has been allowed to like to write things and to direct things, like there are still more male directors in some instances, and especially like then if we start talking about like not only are there female directors, but are there female directors of color who are winning awards, right? So just like looking at the representation and seeing like how much more often, and I should maybe for our follow-up, I can look up these sort of stats and like lay some actual numbers and some like groundwork to like why this conversation is true. But like even just thinking about, so like some filmmakers, especially, I mean, even now I would say before you make a film, you have to have money to make the film, right? So historically, it's more common for men to be out asking people for money and be fundraising for their projects, if that makes sense. So there's going to be more projects that are directed or written by men for that reason. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm going to stop the recording now because this has been a pretty long one.